Hey Sun, I'm Daisy Victoria. Let's explore the making of a Viking Age Norse apron dress. Now I do have a prior video about making a Norse apron dress, and that is the basis of the current one that I'm going to show you today. So I'm going to kind of refer you back to that video to get the basis of how to construct the main part of the dress. Today we're going to go into a very interesting topic, and that is, what if you need to make this dress a little bit bigger and you don't have enough fabric? Or maybe you just outgrew it and you need to expand it. Today we're going to go from this basic dress to another style with a back lacing that accounts for an expansion. Now when I started making this dress, I was using just a scrap of wool. So I thought I might have enough fabric, but it was kind of cutting it close. And I realized that I really didn't have enough to make it fit quite right. So I went ahead and decided to do a modification to the pattern. So this is the same apron dress pattern from my last video, but what I'm doing here is I've cut the back open. So whereas before we had the back sewn shut, here it is not. So you have just one big piece for the apron dress, right? And now for the back, I'm going to add some pieces. Now, because I was working with a scrap of fabric, I just have a few rectangles. You could do this as one big rectangle also if you have a big enough piece of fabric. I sewed all of these rectangles together to make them into one large rectangle. Now, one thing you could do is you could simply make a rectangle the entire length of the dress, stick it right in there, boom, you're done. But what if you don't have enough fabric? Like I did here, I did not have enough fabric. So what I had to do was get a little bit creative and make it so that this piece goes into the back but doesn't go all the way up, and instead in the back I have a lacing that takes care of that gap that's left there. Now in order to make this a nice smooth transition, instead of just having a big flat rectangle, I had to curve the edges in a little bit so that it kind of has a nice transition from, you know, the rectangular closed part to the now open edges of the dress. And this is totally an example of making the materials you have on hand work for you, which is always nice to be able to use up those last little pieces of fabric. There are a number of ways that you can do lacings for the back of a dress. You could do hand-sewn eyelets, you could do buttonholes, you could do metal grommets if that suits what you're working on. For me, for this project, I decided to go with something that's certainly a historical method where I'm taking a piece of ribbon, I'm attaching the piece of ribbon to the edge, the opening, and I'm sewing it down in certain places so that it kind of creates openings. So it's sewn down and then there's openings in between the sewn down bits. And then I can thread my string through those open parts and that creates the lacing. Another difference between this dress and the last one we made is that this one, instead of having fabric straps, has just cording straps. And that's because I did not have enough fabric to make straps. I used basically every bit of fabric to make the dress itself. So I just used a black cording, the same that I used for the back lacing, to create straps. And this time I created loops that go from the back and then loops that go from the front, so that when you put the brooches on, you're going through the loop and not going through any fabric, or in this case, cord. Now, one thing I've been really excited about lately is learning to use an embroidery machine. There are already some lovely folks who have digitized some Viking Age embroidery. I've been getting mine from Art Embroidery, and she has digitized some designs that came from the Mammon grave find in Denmark. So these motifs are taken direct from Viking Age clothing, and now they are being reproduced on the machine here for us today. And in the theme of using up scrap fabric, these are all embroidered onto scrap pieces of silk dupioni that I had lying around. I embroidered these onto the dupioni fabric, cut them into strips, and then sewed them by hand onto the dress. And because I can, and I'd like to make this dress very decorative, and also because I was just having fun learning how to use the embroidery machine, so I was kind of just playing with it and getting a feel for the machine, so I thought I'd pump out some extra embroidery here. So I ended up putting embroidery all around the hem and all around the top and the back opening as well. This Viking Age apron dress, or smokkr, is once again worn over my pretty standard basic underdress, which you can find a tutorial for on my channel and a PDF tutorial in my shop. I often go with small brooches because I'm approximately hobbit-sized. However, this time I decided to go with very large brooches, which I purchased from an artisan in Ukraine on Etsy. And the dangling beaded pieces I strung myself using beads and metal bits that mimic those seen in the Viking Age. And if you would like to see more about this whole outfit, including a coat that goes on top of it, all the accessories and everything, I do have a video showing the whole outfit, which I will link to below. And it is also the video that was published right before this one. I had so much fun shooting this outfit in the snow. I'm very lucky that I was able to take advantage of this frozen waterfall area. And I hope that you have enjoyed seeing this project come together. So now if you're looking into making an apron dress and you have a limited amount of fabric, or maybe you have an apron dress and you need to expand it, hopefully this will help give you an idea. And even if you're not making an apron dress, this is kind of just the make it work philosophy of working with what you have. Please find me on all the social media. I am Daisy Victoria. My website is daisyvictoria.com. A special thank you to my patrons who helped to continue making all of this possible. I hope you have an absolutely magical day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.